Whether you are returning full of nostalgia or entering it for the very first time, Spyro Reignited Trilogy features three of the most enjoyable 3D platforming games that's probably ever been created, and that's mainly the reason why fans have been clamoring for more Spyro for many years, is that it holds up today, like more than a decade after the last release. It's three absolutely brilliant platforming games that have been updated and enhanced absolutely brilliantly by developers Ties for Bob, that not only sort of recreates the magic of what these games were and the feel and personality, but adds a lot more to it that actually enhances the experience rather than detracts anything from it. You'll see straight away that visually these games are absolutely stunning, with beautiful lush vegetation and colours and so much beauty and animation that's charming as well as cute, and just, I think probably the best way to describe it is magical. And if you've never played these games before, essentially what they are hub areas that you go into different levels and you explore them, taking down enemies with your fire breath or your charge, and depending on which game you play, you'll have more at your disposal. But playing through 1, 2, 3, you can see how they've kept the core mechanics in place and the feel, while always adding a little bit to it, but never taking away what the core identity of the games were. And to do that sort of today would be very, very tough, or it would feel like a little too restrictive. But here it just feels like it blends naturally, and it's done just so well. And jumping between the three games, just it's sort of, because the visuals are all very similar, because they've been all updated to the same level of quality and sort of care has been taken. Not one game has been sort of either left out or had a sort of a priority. Every one of these games, from every frame, every location, every enemy, every NPC that you meet, feels like they've all been given the same amount of care, and it's definitely more than enough. Like even down to the idle animations of these characters, to the cowardly enemies you see running away and they'll run into walls or trip over themselves. There's just so much charm and so much fun to be had here. Like, and even though these games were potentially aimed at a younger audience, returning to them at a later age, just like I said, not only fills you with nostalgia, but also kind of holds up so well. Playing through the three games will take around 20 to 30 hours, and then there's a lot of great quality of life improvements. Like there's a guidebook which shows you how much progress you've made on every single level, from the amount, depending on the game, the amount of eggs you found or the amount of dragons you've rescued. And pointed, the dragons all have their real unique visual style and names and character and personality that sort of builds out the world in a way I wasn't expecting, to the point where it feels like another game would be much more welcome now, because they've just added enough things to it to build out the world to make it feel fresh again, if that makes sense, that there's new stuff to explore even if you're returning later on. But like I said, the guidebook allows a lot of different it allows you to see every single level and everything you've collected in it, from the gems to the eggs to dinosaur or dragons, anything else. Like it's really well done, and helps you, sort of stops you from blindly exploring on what you've done and what you haven't done, and just sort of helps you streamline the process without feeling a bit aimless. And for those who are thinking that the whole game is just a bunch of 3D platforming, it's not. There's a surprising amount of variety in the little challenges you face, especially in the later games rather than the first one. But there's a lot of little grey sort of little challenges for you to achieve, and it's so much fun just breaking up and throwing it in. And that on top of the guidebook just allows you just this constant just wanting to keep pushing and finding every little thing that every little level has. And it's just, games like this don't really exist anymore, where it's not overly bloated and you feel like it's just too much, and it doesn't feel like it's going to take an eternity to overcome. And on top of that, then it doesn't also feel very linear and bare bones. This is a complete package. Like, there's so much to do in here without ever feeling like it's too much. And yeah, I think honestly it's just, I can't say enough good things about it, from the visuals to the brilliant musical score that they've updated. But you can go back and listen to the original if that's what you prefer and get that nostalgia trip. There's just so much care done here by Ties for Bob that would love to see them maybe take this series back and make it their own, because they definitely care about this IP. They care about making it authentic and true to its history, I guess, as well as being able to prove that they can make things even better. And yeah, I just think the Reignited Trilogy is possibly one of the best packages you could get this holiday season in terms of value, in terms of like fun per moment to moment gameplay. It's just, there's not one down point, there's not one down moment. It's just all thoroughly enjoyable, looks great, runs really smoothly, and an absolute blast to play.